Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal Podcast, roundtable number 15 for Kamen Rider Build, Be the One. I am Vashi V, and joining me today is...
Drago.
And Rye. Sorry that this podcast is late. It's not. We totally didn't all forget that we were doing a podcast on the same day. So, this is the Build movie Be the One. Its official placement in the series is near the end. Near the beginning or during of the Lost Bottle collection arc. I have no idea exactly when its placement was at this point, though.
Okay, it's okay. I was gonna say its placement is right after the episode where Sento's dad dies, and before they get the white panel. Like between those two episodes, it is there. 40. I think it's between 45 and 46.
All right. So, the premise of the movie is that new Masakuni, or not the real Masakuni, what was the evil guy that was Namba. This was when Namba was impersonating the governor of Seito, Masakuni, and basically trying to reunite Japan under his control. But Evolt is the one who's really in charge and pulling the strings. So what happens is Evolt picks 3 new governors to run Japan. Wait, is this when... Wait, Evil kills Namba. And Evil starts impersonating Masakuni after that, doesn't he? This is when Evil himself is just impersonating. Okay, now that I'm caught up. This is the downside to watching these like this, is you forget what hasn't happened yet when you finally watch the movie. Sorry. Evil picks 3 new governors to look over Japan for him for whatever reason. The only one that matters, though, is Kengo, because he's the main antagonist of this movie. And just during his inauguration, makes a public statement about how the Kamen Riders have only been weapons of war for Japan, and now that Japan is being reunited again, they don't need the Riders. So he's basically declaring the Riders outlaws, with a bit of hypnotic play and control to get all the civilians to hate the Riders, particularly Build. So all the advertising for the movie was showing how Build is being attacked by all these civilians and such, and I could only wonder why are they doing that? What's going on? This is a pretty solid answer.
And they did a good job of, hiding that aspect, because through all of the trailers and all that, all it just does, it just seems like, oh, he's being chased. So your first thing to go is okay, so he's being chased by fans. Because they seem to have that mob mentality of it, and the fact that wasn't the case was fantastic. Also, I'm pretty sure this movie could be changed, name could be changed to Running the Movie, and it would still fit.
Kamen Rider Build runs for his life. For 75 minutes.
Yeah, this is pretty nice setup for the movie. I really enjoy it. The enemy using his powers to heighten the senses. I heighten the hatred of Kamen Rider, which I
Okay, we should be back now. Sorry about that.
This is pretty.
Vashi's connection did not quite go well. So we were down for a few minutes. Uh, so uh, right, the three ministers or whatever that Evold put in charge, they are also not human. Uh, don't really know what they are. Their backstory is kind of vague, but they have apparently like been around the whole time, like manipulating the governors behind their backs, uh, and have been and are also wanting to destroy the earth. It's just that their intentions and Evil's intentions don't entirely line up, so Evil isn't entirely happy with how they're going about things. Any thoughts on these villains for the movie?
I mean, yeah, using the same species evolved to like what do you call it? To be the villains of the movie. That's pretty nice. And also, I did really like what do you call it? That they are also pissed at Evolve for not blowing the Earth up soon. Because that was one of my major complaints around episode 40 to 45, that when Lost Bottle Arc was going on. And yeah, I'm kind of glad that this movie calls out on that, but again, still not what do you call it? It still doesn't explain it for some reason. Yeah, so but I did like this. What do you call it? I do like this three for being a temporary villains of the movie.
Uh, yeah, they weren't too bad for villains. It's just that two of them were really just there to be there, whereas Kengo was the main villain who mattered. I would have loved to have seen more of him and his style, like in the main series.
I that actually is true. I would have liked to see him as well, but again, they were already. I think they took. I think one of the few problems I have with Build is that Evold was the main focus, and they focused on him too much. He would have kind of made like for two villains thing, which would have actually been fine, to be honest, just to have a break from one. But again, for this movie, he does really work very well. And I was when I was watching this, I was really interested in what his deal is. But yeah, I do like the even the actor how he portrays the character. He's not charismatic as the guy who plays Evold, but he does get his job done, and he's kind of stern, which does kind of portray his villainous attitude pretty well, which I do like.
Yeah, he works really well. Uh, so, Build has run into the problem where he's being ganged up on by a bunch of civilians, and he can't fight back because they're just normal humans. And so we get a pretty like ridiculous chase sequence. Guy, I think my favorite part will always be the Build hiding like on the side of a building, and then he accidentally gives up his hiding spot to take pictures of a dog.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, and then it was really funny as a sequence. I did really like it, and I don't know. I mean, who wouldn't take pictures of cute animals on the road? Even if my life was under the threat, I would actually do that. But again, I also did like the how they directed the thing, like with helicopter shots, and even the time when okay, I think I noticed this something. You know, Kazuya Kami Horiuchi, the guy who directed this movie. also directed Heisei Generation's Final.
Oh,
And yeah, so the one thing I really find a bit weird is that, not weird exactly. In both these movies, there were exploding cars, and he slowed down when the cars were exploding.
noticing a
Yeah,
pattern?
so yeah, it is kind of weird. Maybe that's what he likes to do. Like, you know how Michael Bay like explosions. Maybe this is his way
Right.
of showcasing it. So yeah, that's what I would.
Uh, there was also the guy that got fired out of like a helicopter, like a torpedo or like a missile.
Holy shit! What happened to the guy? That's what
I
I'm
don't know.
wondering.
We don't know. All we know is they got fired out of a helicopter right at Build, like a missile.
He's dead.
He's probably dead.
Oh shit. Yeah. Um.
uh, uh, Banjo runs into one of the guys and gets into a fight with him. Oh, it was the guy who uh, was helping choose victims for the Smash experimentation. So he was the guy that like specifically chose Kasumi, Banjo's dead girlfriend. So Banjo, of course, is blaming him for Kasumi's death, uh, which kind of felt like a powerful moment when I was watching it, but has little bearing on the movie, so it ended up being a little forgettable, unfortunately.
What I. But one thing that I did like, it was powerful. But one thing it didn't settle with me is it became a bit redundant. Because we have seen it went the blame went from Rogue to Stark to this guy.
Yeah, we've seen Banjo blame everyone he can at this point.
Yeah. So that's I feel that just a cheap writing trick. They could have used something else instead.
Yeah. Um, so at some point, Sento uh, goes into like breaks into some facility or other to try and gather information on what's going on now, and Kengo like approaches him in there like, yeah, there's nothing you can do, and then brings in a mind controlled Banjo to fight him. Uh, meanwhile, Gentoku and Kazumi, who were helping Sento out earlier, have been captured and thrown into prison without their rider gear. So now Sento is in a position where everyone he knows really is like against him and he has no one there for him. And this is where the real like theme of the movie kicks in with the main hero like having no one to turn to, having nowhere to go, like 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 the villain is like trying to make him feel like he's been betrayed by everyone. Uh,
The funny thing is that he gets saved by Evolt.
yeah, because
Yeah.
he was after Hazard Trigger, and Evolt's like, you're not getting that.
Mm. and and yeah, I did really like the interaction between like the fight sequence that happens, and the Bill getting defeated by Banjo. I also like when Bull just takes them away, and then they have the interaction in the boat, which I don't know. It just reminded me of Soichi initially in the first arc of Build, first half of Build, where like Soichi used to act as a parent to Sento. So I could see that him acting as a parent to him in this episode as well, this movie as well, which I'm really kind of fond of. It's kind of sick and sadistic, but it's still kind of endearing towards the characters that I felt when watching the scene.
Like, they do a great job of conveying the emotions, not just like the writing and execution, but like the acting as well. Even when Sento like goes into his mind and has that internal dialogue with Takumi or Katsuragi. Even the flashback sequences to talking to his father, like that's that's something I would have loved to have seen while the show was airing. Like, I get that you're supposed to watch this movie while the show is airing, but still, like, I honestly, like, that's a powerful moment for Bill's character overall.
I would, yeah, that's one thing that I really think that it was one thing that was kind of missing is that we never in even in the show and in other movies that we mostly got like focus on Banjo, and the only time we had focus on Center was during the Hazard arc, which was great, and in Center's dad arc, which was not. But this movie entirely being focused on Bill himself and how he feels about everything, I really enjoy. I really think that was great, and especially his internal dialogue with Takumi was very good. How they take care of their own problems and how they see the world, and how both of them feel betrayed by their like they kind of feel betrayed by the parent, but also they feel like and their differences in ideology and how Katsuragi is cynical and Sento is more hopeful, like more hopeful about the world, which I enjoyed the difference between them, and it was pretty nice. Especially the bit where like he talks like how Banjo is the most important person in his life, and their relationship isn't false, if even if everything is.
People thought they were gay before this movie.
I was one of them.
But, like, that speech right there is just encouraging it super hard.
Yeah, that's one of the theory. This is actually literally my favorite line in this entire movie because it is just a culmination of their friendship and their relationship and maybe love, because I'm 100% on Banjo and Sento train actually, but yeah, I really do enjoy it. It was a really good scene, and it did make me tear up a bit, remembering whatever all these characters have gone through. Yeah, and yeah, I do think Sento and Banjo are gay because the last scene is, I mean, for each other
Yeah, specifically.
specifically. So, because of the last episode, especially, and I choose to ignore anything that's not Heisei Generations Forever, anything post build. So I'm happy with this. Yeah, this was a really good scene, especially the rain. Especially in the rain, I really enjoyed the when it was pouring rain, and also the fact that they had that mind palace thing, also had all the things that they have gone, like Build has gone through in this entire life, flashing at him, and then he goes to fight. What do you call it? Though, and then he gets a resolve to fight. Blood. I Kengo,
Yeah, Kamen Rider
um,
Blood.
Kamen Rider Blood. So he goes to fight him, which I did really, and then that was a really good scene.
Like just the way Sento hypes himself up too. Like you don't see a lot of main characters do that basically to themselves.
Yeah, that's the good thing about having another person inside your head. You have someone else to bounce off from.
Like he's not giving a motivational speech to his best friend or someone who needs to be like given hope. He's not like standing his ground against some villain when he's saying all that. No, he's saying that to himself.
And I think that was what was missing from the show, in my opinion. Like in the show, we have seen Misora, we have seen Banjo, we have seen Kazuma and Gentoku try to console. Like Sento is a character, I think, in the Rider who is the easiest depressed after Takumi. Takumi from Fights, not Takumi from Build.
Not
But
Takumi
yeah.
as in Sento's other personality.
Yeah, so this is like one of the riders who get depressed the most, but we have never seen him try to console himself or try to get out of everything by himself when all chips are down. We have seen other people try to get him out of the ditch. And this was a really perfect moment to encapsulate his entire character. And that should have been in the show, or else we should have seen. I wish I could have seen the movie when it was supposed to be seen, and not like months later.
Right. Like,
And that's a shame.
this would have done wonders for the show if we were able to see it when it was intended.
Yeah, and yeah, and this makes me love this show a lot more, because this movie kind of feels like it's a part of the same show, and it also is a really good indication of why the like of who is Sento Kiryu and Build in general, that kind of did a better portrayal than the show at the last half. I mean, episode 40 onwards, we didn't get to see much of Sento Kiryu properly, and this was kind of supposed to be a book ending of that Lost Bottle arc. But since we didn't get to see the book end, that arc kind of suffered. That's why I think we should have seen this movie back when it was supposed to be airing, and I think it's late, but better late than never. So I think this movie is great. At least for Sento in this movie is the best Sento we have ever seen.
Like, I ever
In
go...
the okay.
I was gonna say, if I ever go back and rewatch Build, watching this when it's supposed to be aired will do a lot.
Mm. And even Heisei Generations, like even with Heisei Generation Final, I had kind of the lesser than this problem, but yeah, because that movie has a significant arc for Banjo, because Banjo was selfish as hell, and he suddenly decides to be a bit selfless in like who's working to fight for his friend in I think after episode 16 in the war arc, especially Heisei Generations kind of does where he got the resolve from. This is the same kind of problem that that had, but amplified with Sento. So while watching Bill, I think watching Heisei Generations final and this movie would make a lot more sense. Right?
Yeah. Uh, so then we come down to Sento accepting Kengo's call out. uh, Sento uses his genius form and Kengo henshins into Kamen Rider Blood, which is a really fancy recolor and redesign of Cross, one of the Cross suits.
No, it's the hazard suit.
It's a hazard suit.
Yeah, they put stuff on it. It's the hazard suit painted. It's a kit bash of multiple things, but especially it's the base suit they use is the hazard form suit. That's the reason why we didn't get to see hazard form in the final episode where he was going through all the forms.
Oh, it's because it has Cross's eyes.
Yeah, it does that big. Yeah, because of the cross's eyes that you don't get to see, but the entire base suit is from hazard
Yeah,
form.
yeah, it's like Hazard Trigger with Cross's eyes and Evil's like chest armor.
Yeah, considering that actually makes sense considering he uses a hazard trigger, the dragon cross dragon thing, and a snake a snake lost bottle.
Like his whole suit was just thrown together from mismatched parts of other suits.
Yeah, so but it's a really cool suit. And one thing I like about the henshin of the Kamen Rider Blood is the two people that were the two other aliens that were there, the zebra and whatever the other smash is,
Yeah,
the scissors. Sorry, zebra and scissors were the two people, and then where Banjo was supposed to be should have been evolved, but since Banjo is part evolved, it is so that henshin works, which I thought was neat.
okay, I didn't catch on to that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and and then the ensuing fight is pretty awesome.
Yeah, just like that fight alone was pretty good, but that's not even like the climax of the movie.
Yeah,
Then after Build like frees everyone from the mind control, Kengo like refuses to accept defeat and gets ready to blow up the world. Uh, so Build goes to use a unique henshin using the gold rabbit bottle, and the silver dragon bottle that appeared in the main series. And as Banjo goes to casually step away from the henshin zone, he finds himself caught inside it. And the henshin proceeds, and they get shoved together, kind of like Double, except their bodies actually get shoved together, not just their minds.
so like Double Extreme.
Yeah, like Double Extreme. Are you ready? No!
This was
Oh, it was brilliant.
yeah. I really appreciate either the director or the writer to do that, like to play with the belt henshin to make for like dramatic character moments. But this time they used it for a comedic one, which I find hilarious. And also, oh wait, you missed something. What do you call it? The fact that Sento saves Banjo, and the person who actually makes the new bottle is Bernage.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Bernage actually combines the two bottles to make this sparkling can, the
Oh.
Dragon Rabbit sparkling can. So yes, Bernage he was useful.
Bernage does
This,
something.
yeah, good thing that he actually came back for a small role, because oh boy, Japan and their unwillingness to replace the voice actor unless unless they have passed away. But yeah, I did like the henshin, especially the suit. While using it has the coattails that I like in Cronus and Black Hole Evolved, and I also like the color scheme overall. It looks much better in motion than in like picture.
Oh, I really like the suit. Were you the one that was saying that you wished it was actually like gold and silver like the bottles?
I wanted it to be at first because I was just looking at still images, but in
Right,
motion,
I can get that.
I don't think the gold and silver would have worked in when it's moving. So I think this red and blue thing does work really well.
Yeah,
And with the gold and silver eyes. And one thing I really like, one thing I think I have forgot to mention is, you know how Evolt is a black hole, so he kills the world from the sky.
yeah.
Blood basically says that he's gonna do it from the ground.
Oh
So
yeah,
that was neat.
I really
Yeah.
like the
So
like parallel there. Whereas Evold was like reaching a tower to the sky, this guy is just like literally digging into the earth.
yeah. So that was neat. And then the final fight was really great.
Uh, yeah. One thing I kind of glossed over was Gentoku and Kazumi eventually getting out of prison when Utsumi like gives them their rider gear. Uh, they were kind of a little bit comic relief though, but they still get their big fights in the end. The ultimate like battle against Kengo though underground is really well done, uh, and it kind of like really makes you feel like there's something at stake here because they're literally fighting in the center of the earth.
And yeah, the one thing that I also really like, I mean, aside from some bits where the CGI wasn't super great, mostly it was not that not bad at all. It is really good, in fact. But some bits were a bit too CGI, like look too CGI. But again, it's minor nitpick. And I also like the fact that when like Shinobi when Sento flashes back to Shinobu Katsuragi, what he said to Takumi, the last word he said to Katsuragi Takumi, which was that why are you doing any of this? And the answer was love and peace, which I was thought was really neat. And it gives like more weight to the character of Shinobu Katsuragi, who was kind of unnecessary in the show, but again, and also it was not that great. While if but with this movie, I think he is. I think the I get what we're trying to go for, and I appreciate that Shinobu Katsuragi wanted to fight for love and peace, like the rest of the cast members of Build, and how it runs through the entire, and how the message of Build is basically at the face of adversity and war and dangers and a lot of other bad shit that happens in the world. Love and peace are the two things that love and peace are the things that are gonna save the world for. Is something that we should strive for, and are gonna ultimately save the world in the end, which was great.
Yeah, Vashi and I kind of laughed at the love and peace thing early on, but they really carried it forward to the point where, yeah, that's what this is all about. Like this series is literally about war, and the heroes are fighting for peace.
Yeah, and the fact that like it went like the fact that sorry for going on a good tangent for the even the entire show, but the fact that the villains of the show were authority figures, like a sign from scientists who were bidding for the governmental organizations, from warmongers to evil, who's a representative of an eye, and all of these dangers of the world. And then the heroes, things that our heroes fight for and want to protect is for love and peace, is it really resonated with me, especially in Build. I know some people say that At least the complaint I've heard from other people is that love and peace, the term love and peace become meaningless in the show like, as time goes on because of how much they say. But in
They
my
don't.
opinion, yeah, yeah, technically they don't. Disagree with them, but again, I think love and peace thing was much more powerful and resonating with me, with people than people actually give it credit for, because when the characters said something they meant it, unlike Kota Kazuraba's bullshit that he says a lot, uh,
Uh,
and uh,
what did he say
and
a
then
lot?
about wait, no, oh, sorry, not a lot. Like I mean, like whatever Kota says a lot of, like, heroic speeches, but you don't see it that he has, like, he means it. It doesn't, it's not as powerful. And even as, like, even if like I have a dream, like how Takumi has, like, I have a, and I
Oh
don't
yeah,
have a dream, but I'll fight other people to protect that dream. Takumi means it. Like, and even Kenzaki of, like, how he will save other people. What the thing that he says means it. But one of the few complaints I have for, like, the time between in, like, Gaim and in Ghosh, and even early bits of Exade, is
hmm
that I didn't feel that the character meant what they said. It felt a bit like they're espousing stuff for the sake of heroic speeches. But in Build, you feel that from the characters. It's maybe it's like the actor's performance.
right.
Maybe it's the
Like, like I was saying, like we kind of laughed off the whole loving peace thing at first, but then they kept doing it. It's like, yeah, this is they mean it. Like, this is real. Like, he actually wants this. He's not just saying some goofy thing. Like, he's sticking to it. Or he's not just saying something to, like, sound like a hero or something that sounds like it should be said. Like, no, this is what he's dealing with.
and yeah, and then the last bit where, like, they do both the finishers of, like, Banjo summoning the animal things to fight, to give a rider kick, like using a rabbit as a launch pad, and kicking Kengo out of the Earth's core, and then using the Cento's mathematical kick, and both of them saying the catchphrases, like, that was really great. And I really like the fact that there were people who were watching Kamen Rider defeat the enemy, which I found, which warmed my heart a lot. It was really good scene, and I was really invested in, like, the fight act, compared to, like, a lot of other summer movies have. Yeah, this is like this has become kind of like one of my favorite movies of Kamen Rider. In recent memory, I think after Wizard, the only one I kind of liked was Drive, and this was better than that, which it was really enjoyable as a movie.
Like, I can very much agree with that. And then we get a really great ending, where we go back to the classic Sento Banjo banter between the two of them, uh, which just evolves into Banjo calling Sento stupid and Sento tricking him into looking like an idiot while doing it.
Yeah, and especially the fact that they fist bump, like, sideways while walking away was really great. Yeah, this movie was
This,
so good.
this movie highlights, like, everything Build had the potential to be, and, like, showcases some of the things that Build had trouble with in the main series in a way that frames them as this is what was intended.
Mm. Like in my opinion, I think that like if I don't know. After watching this movie, I just wish I was watching this movie when it had come out as intended, because it just made me love Build a lot more.
Like this is,
Yeah,
yeah, this is probably one of the, no, well, not probably. This is easily one of the better Rider movies.
yeah, because I don't know. One of the few things that about Rider movies, they can devolve into two categories. One is a pointless summer movie, and second is a pointless summer movie with cool action.
But
Like cool action with like a lot of other stuff. Like we see the characters challenged, but this one was a bit of a character piece for Sento.
like
Like we haven't seen this.
this was
Okay,
a character development movie with cool action.
yeah, and we haven't seen that since Double A to Z Gaia Memories of Fate. That was in 2011, where there were two riders who could combine into one body. I see where the inspiration is coming from.
I see what you're doing to a.
Yeah, so yeah, it is very it was very sweet movie. I liked everyone in this movie, especially I had missed the Build cast when I was watching this, but I now understand. I think the feelings I had towards this show after watching this movie weren't false. Like they weren't like the I was caught up in the moment and then that's why I like the show. I like the show for its legitimate good things that it had.
I,
Um,
I was gonna say I missed Sento and Banjo specifically. I missed their dynamic that they have. It's very unique for a Rider show, and they just make it work so well.
yeah, especially the actors that have like such a good chemistry with each other. Like that is I this is okay. One thing I would say, the romance between Banjo and Sento and the chemistry between them, right, is better than anything we have in Rider since Kuga. Yeah, uh, the chemistry between Banjo and Sento easily rivals the chemistry between Ichigo and Godai.
Uh,
And I think that this actually, even if like a build if you objectively speaking, like it's not as tight as Kuga, which and there are a bit too many. There are a lot of flaws that outweigh Kuga, but when build works, it really works, and actually you feel better about the show as well. And it was mostly in part to both Sento, Kiryu, and Banjo and Ryuga having such a good chemistry with each other.
uh, so thanks for joining us, everybody. Sorry about that little hiccup at the beginning. We'll be back on Tuesday for more Ryu Soldier, Wednesday for more Kamen Rider Zio, and Thursday back to Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.